My name is Maya, and before I tell you how my life burned down and rebuilt itself twice, I need you to do one thing for me. Drop a comment down below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now, because I read every single comment, and it reminds me that I'm not alone, that my story matters. And trust me, you're going to want to hear how this ends, because what happened to me, it didn't just break me. It remade me. I still remember the first time I met Jordan. He wasn't the polished, charming CEO the world thinks he is. He was sitting on the floor of a tiny, mold-smelling apartment, surrounded by empty ramen cups, a broken laptop, and a dream so fragile that one wrong breath could have shattered it. He looked up at me, embarrassed, wiping his hands on his jeans. "Sorry," he said. "Startups are, chaotic." But I saw something in him, a fire, a hunger, a spark. And at that time in my life, I needed a spark. I had a degree in marketing, a job that paid peanuts, and a long list of ideas that nobody took seriously. Jordan didn't just listen to my ideas. He asked questions, scribbled notes, looked at me like I was the missing piece of his puzzle. Within 3 months, we were inseparable. Within 6, we were in love. And within a year, I had poured everything I had into building his dream. My savings, my time, my creativity, my entire identity. We built a brand from nothing, a brand people still think he created alone. I designed the logo by hand. I came up with the name during a midnight walk. I wrote the ads, built the website, handled the customers, negotiated deals, everything. And slowly, money started coming in. Then more, until one day Jordan turned to me in disbelief. "Maya, we did it." But the truth is, I did it. And I didn't realize then just how dangerous that truth was. The day we moved into the mansion, the one I designed, from the light fixtures to the marble floors, Jordan kissed my forehead and said, "None of this would exist without you." That was the last genuine compliment I ever heard from him. Success changes people. Sometimes it expands them. Other times, it exposes who they always were. It started small. Late nights at the office, muted calls, vague answers. Then came the assistant. Her name was Vanessa. Perfect hair, perfect teeth, a smile too polished to be real. Jordan insisted she was professional. I insisted something felt wrong. But I didn't have proof. Not yet. The night everything shattered, I was in the kitchen reheating leftover pasta. I heard Jordan laughing in the hallway, laughing in a way he hadn't laughed with me in months. When I stepped out, he froze, like he'd been caught stealing something. Vanessa stood behind him, holding his suit jacket like she owned it, like she owned him. I opened my mouth, but he spoke first. "Maya, this isn't working anymore. You're holding me back." My heart stopped. "Holding you back? Jordan, I built everything." He raised his hand, silencing me. "Maya, I'm giving you a chance to walk away with dignity. Just go." Go? Where? Why? I didn't even have time to process before security. The same men I hired escorted me out with nothing but my clothes and my phone. It didn't matter that I built the company. It didn't matter that I designed the mansion. It didn't matter that I loved him. In one night, I went from being his partner to being discarded like trash. I ended up in the cheapest motel I could find. I sat on the stained mattress, hugging myself, replaying every memory, every sacrifice, every night I stayed up working while he slept peacefully. The humiliation stung more than the heartbreak. The betrayal burned deeper than the loss. I kept thinking, how can someone take everything you built and still call it theirs? For 2 weeks, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't look in the mirror without crying. And then reality hit me even harder. I had no job, no home, no money. The world believed Jordan built the brand alone, and I had no proof that any of it was mine. I had gone from architect of an empire to a homeless nobody in less than 24 hours. So I did the only thing I could do. I walked into a small cafe and asked if they were hiring. The manager looked at my resume, raised an eyebrow, and said, "You're overqualified, but you look like you need a break." And that's where my next chapter began. Behind a counter, wearing an apron, taking orders from people who would never know what I once built. I didn't know it then, but someone was about to walk into that cafe and change everything. Someone who knew exactly who I was. Someone who would give me back the power Jordan stole. And that someone was Lucas. Because when Lucas walked up to the counter and said my name, he also said the one sentence Jordan prayed no one would ever find out. "Weren't you the one who built Jordan's brand?"
When Lucas said my name, I froze. I stood there behind the cafe counter, gripping a steaming cup like it was the only thing holding me to the earth. His voice wasn't loud, but it had weight. The weight of someone who knew something he wasn't supposed to know. "Weren't you the one who built Jordan's brand?" Built, not helped, not supported, not worked for, built. That one word hit me so hard my vision blurred. I forced a smile, the kind that hides broken pieces. "I don't know what you're talking about." Lucas raised his hands slowly, as if approaching a frightened animal. "I'm not here to bother you. I'm an accountant, and I follow business stories. Your marketing style is..." He paused. "Distinct." I blinked. Distinct. A part of me wanted to laugh, another wanted to cry. He continued, voice low. "Jordan's branding changed drastically about 3 years ago. Then, recently, it changed again. It's almost like the original creator disappeared." My heart clenched. Was it that obvious? Had Jordan really erased me so cleanly that the world thought I died? I swallowed. "Jordan doesn't talk about me." Lucas nodded slowly. "I know. That's why I wanted to talk to you." He leaned closer over the counter. "Do you have a break soon?" Part of me wanted to say no, part of me wanted to hide forever, but something in his voice, calm, steady, respectful, made me feel seen for the first time in months. I nodded. We sat at a small table near the window. I kept twisting a napkin between my fingers while he spoke. "You don't need to tell me anything personal," he said gently, "but I want you to know, what Jordan did to you, it's illegal." I frowned. "Illegal? How?" He exhaled slowly, choosing his words carefully. "Your work, your ideas, your strategies, they're intellectual property. If you can prove you created them, Jordan can't erase you, not legally." I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "Prove it?" "Lucas, I don't even have my laptop anymore. He kept everything." Lucas smiled faintly. "Good news. The internet remembers everything. And accountants?" He tapped his temple. "We know where digital fingerprints hide." I stared at him. This quiet man in glasses. This stranger who ordered a simple latte. This person who looked like he'd be intimidated by a loud sneeze. He was offering me something I hadn't had in a long time. Hope. "Why are you helping me?" I asked. He hesitated. Then he said something I wasn't prepared for. "Because I watched my sister lose everything she built. A man stole her ideas, her clients, her income, and she never recovered. I promised myself that if I ever saw someone in the same situation, I would not stay silent. My chest tightened. Grief recognizes grief. Pain recognizes pain. Maybe that's why Lucas approached me. Maybe that's why I didn't run. For the first time since Jordan threw me out, I told someone the truth. Not everything, just enough for Lucas to understand. How I created the brand name, how I built the first website, how I ran the ads from my own credit card, how Jordan slowly took more credit than all the credit, and how he finally replaced me with someone who looked good on camera. He never interrupted, never questioned my pain. He just listened, like every word mattered. When I finished, he folded his hands on the table. "Maya, if you want it back, you can get it." I shook my head. "I don't want it back. I want something better, something mine." His eyes lit up. "Good, then we build something new, legally protected from the beginning." I laughed softly. "Lucas, I'm making minimum wage at a cafe. I can't even afford a new laptop right now." "He has one you can use," he said immediately. I blinked. "You don't even know me." He smiled. "I know enough." I didn't understand then what he meant. I didn't know why he cared so deeply, so suddenly. But later, I would understand everything. Over the next few weeks, Lucas came to the cafe often. Not to flirt, not to pity me, but to help. He'd sit at the corner table with his laptop, showing me how to protect branding legally, how to register trademarks, how to set up contracts that would prevent what Jordan did from ever happening again. He taught me things I didn't even know I needed to learn, things Jordan never wanted me to know. He'd say things like, "You're brilliant, Maya. You just never had the right armor." Armor. No one had ever given me armor before. One evening, after closing, Lucas waited outside the cafe. "I found something," he said, breathless. I frowned. "Found what?" "Proof." His voice shook slightly. "Digital proof that you created everything. Timestamps, metadata, original drafts, logged under your name. Everything Jordan erased from his side still exists." My heart raced. "Lucas, are you serious?" He nodded. "It's enough to turn Jordan's empire upside down." I felt the ground shift beneath me. For months, I had been powerless. Now, suddenly, I held a weapon. Lucas reached into his bag, pulled out a folder, and handed it to me. He said, "This is step 1. Step 2 is deciding what you want to do with it." I clutched the folder to my chest. Revenge? Justice? A fresh start? Maybe all three. But before I could respond, Lucas's face changed, like he remembered something important. "Maya, there's something else you need to see." Because what Lucas showed me next wasn't just proof of my work. It was something that made my blood run cold and proved Jordan's betrayal was far darker than I ever imagined. When Lucas said, "There's something else you need to see," I felt a chill crawl down my spine. His tone wasn't excited like before. It was careful, measured, like he was holding something explosive and didn't know how I'd react when it detonated. We walked to a bench outside the cafe. The evening air smelled like coffee grounds and rain, but my heart felt like it was beating in a vacuum. Lucas pulled out his laptop, opened a folder, and rotated the screen toward me. On the screen was a document labeled Confidential Asset Removal Plan, dated 3 weeks before Jordan kicked me out. My stomach twisted. "Lucas, what is this?" He spoke quietly. This was stored in Jordan's shared drive. It wasn't deleted, just hidden, and it mentions you repeatedly. He clicked the document open, and then I saw it. Bullet points, neatly spaced, like a to-do list for destroying a human being. Transfer ownership rights from M. Carter, informal contributor, to J. Hale only. Restrict M. Carter's system access effective immediately. Prepare public narrative. Jordan built brand independently. Avoid paper trail linking M. Carter to brand creation. Introduce new spokesperson, VR. Execute removal with minimal conflict. No financial compensation offered. Removal. Not breakup, not separation, not parting ways. Removal. Like I was a stain, a problem, an obstacle. I felt my throat tightening, but Lucas gently touched my shoulder. He said, "There's more." He scrolled down. If M. Carter attempts legal action, initiate smear campaign. Use Vanessa for media appearances. Position M. Carter as unstable, obsessive, or mentally fragile if necessary. My vision blurred. He didn't just betray me, he planned it. He engineered it. He built an entire narrative designed to erase my existence. My hands shook. He was going to call me unstable? Lucas nodded. This wasn't a breakup, Maya. This was a strategy. A strategy. A business decision. I suddenly felt sick. For how long? I whispered. How long had he been planning this? Lucas clicked to another file. Timestamps, emails, drafts. 8 months, he said. 8 months. 8 months before he kicked me out of the house I designed, he had already laid out a roadmap of my destruction. I covered my face with my hands. I didn't know if I was breaking apart or waking up for the first time. After a few minutes, I took a deep breath, wiped my eyes, and forced myself to ask, who else knows about this? Does Vanessa know? Lucas hesitated. His expression shifted, not uncertainty, but discomfort. Maya, I don't think Vanessa was just involved. He looked me directly in the eyes. I think she helped write it. My heart dropped. No, she barely even knew me. Lucas shook his head. She didn't have to know you. She just had to want what you built. I clenched my jaw. The mansion, the success, the spotlight. Everything I built, she walked into like she owned it. Of course she wanted it. And clearly she was willing to steal it. Lucas closed the laptop and took a deeper breath. Now you have a choice, he said slowly. You can expose all of this, legally, publicly, destroy his image, take back control. I stared at the ground. It won't fix what he did. No, Lucas agreed, but it will make sure he can never do this to anyone again. A long silence passed between us. Then I whispered something I hadn't said out loud before. I want to build my own company. Lucas didn't blink. He didn't look shocked. He didn't hesitate. He smiled, like he had been waiting for those words. Then let's start today. The next morning, we met at a public library. Lucas brought binders, checklists, and diagrams. I brought notebooks, sketches, branding ideas, the same spark I once gave Jordan, except now it belonged to me, and only me. We spent hours building the blueprint for my new brand. Fresh, bold, fearless, nothing like Jordan's safe, predictable strategies. Lucas laid out the legal protections like armor plating, making sure every piece of my work was registered under my name, notarized, time-stamped, untouchable. He said, "You're not just starting a company, you're building an empire." I smiled for the first time in months, but deep down, I could feel something else stirring. Not revenge, not anger, power. I was getting my power back. By the third week, I had designs, a brand identity, a launch strategy, and a small budget scraped together from extra shifts at the cafe. Lucas helped me secure a free workspace at a community startup center. Every time we worked together, we talked more, not just about the company, but about life, dreams, fears.
I learned that he loved quiet mornings, that he played piano even though he was terrible at it, that he cared too much even when he pretended not to, and he learned that I wasn't weak, just tired of carrying people who never carried me back. I didn't realize it yet, but Lucas wasn't just helping me rebuild, he was becoming a part of the foundation. One afternoon, as we were planning the final details for the soft launch, Lucas's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, then looked at me with a strange expression. "Maya, you should sit." I raised an eyebrow. "Why? What happened?" He handed me his phone. "It's Jordan. Something's happening to his company." On the screen was a news headline, bold, panicked letters. Hale Enterprises facing internal crisis. Financial irregularities discovered. My breath caught. It had started. Jordan's empire, the one he stole from me, was beginning to fall apart, and I had no idea how bad it was going to get, because what happened to Jordan next wasn't just karma, it was catastrophic, and it was only the beginning.
I stared at Lucas's phone, my fingers trembling as I reread the headline over and over. Hale Enterprises facing internal crisis. Financial irregularities discovered. Jordan's empire, my empire, the one I built with my own hands, was cracking open like a rotten egg, and I didn't know whether to feel vindicated or terrified. Lucas gently took the phone back. "We don't know the details yet," he said softly, "but whatever it is, it's serious." I swallowed hard. What does financial irregularities even mean? He pushed his glasses up, thinking. It could be fraud, embezzlement, hidden expenses, unauthorized transfers. When companies grow fast and cut corners, things slip. When companies grow fast with careless people in charge, he looked at me knowingly. This happens. Something twisted in my chest. Jordan wasn't careful. Jordan was greedy, and he trusted all the wrong people, especially Vanessa. A tiny, almost shameful part of me felt satisfaction, but a bigger part felt fear. Not for him, no, for what this meant. Because if Hale Enterprises fell, Jordan wouldn't be the only one dragged into the mud. My name, my work, my ideas, all still associated with the company, could be questioned, twisted, even blamed. Lucas seemed to read my thoughts. "Don't worry, you're protected now, and soon the world will know the truth." He placed a binder in front of me. "Let's focus on what you're building." So I took a deep breath, pushed Jordan out of my mind, and forced my energy into the future. Into my empire. The birth of a new brand. Over the next 2 weeks, my life became a whirlwind. I worked morning shifts at the cafe, wiped down tables, took orders, smiled at customers who didn't know that after hours I was building something monumental. Then, every afternoon, Lucas and I met at the startup center. He brought spreadsheets, strategy maps, and the kind of quiet encouragement that made everything feel possible. I brought my ideas, bold, unapologetic, original, ideas I used to give away for free. Now, they were mine. We built the brand from the ground up. A fresh logo, a fierce tagline, a story rooted in survival and strength. I wanted women like me, the overlooked, the undervalued, the discarded, to feel represented. Lucas minned back one day, looking at my sketches. "This isn't just a company. This is a movement." His words made my eyes sting. Nobody had ever believed in me like this. Not even Jordan. Not truly. The soft launch. When my website went live, I held my breath. We posted the first ad. Then another, then a video. Lucas hit the publish button and whispered, "It's out there." For a moment, everything felt still, quiet, too quiet. Then the notifications started.
1 comment, 3 likes, 5 shares, 10 followers, 100. By midnight, 25,000 website visits, 800 pre-orders, over 40,000 views on the promo video. My heart raced as numbers climbed faster than I could process. Lucas, this is insane. He smiled, that small, warm smile that had started to feel like sunlight through a window. People see authenticity, he said. They see you. I hadn't felt seen in years. Jordan's downfall. While my brand skyrocketed, Jordan's world burned. Every headline was worse than the one before. Investors pull out amid financial confusion. Assistant accused of mishandling funds. Leadership crisis at Hale Enterprises. And then, the one that froze me cold. Founder missing from public view. Sources cite personal issues. Lucas side-eyed me. He's hiding or running. I felt nothing. No sympathy, no nostalgia, no sadness. Only clarity. He took everything from me. Now, everything was being taken from him. But karma wasn't done yet. Not even close. The night it blew up. The news broke while Lucas and I were finalizing the launch analytics. My phone buzzed with a notification, then another, then 10. When I opened the trending news page, I gasped. Because there, splashed across every major site, was a single sentence. Vanessa Hale under investigation for embezzlement. Vanessa, the assistant, the mistress, caught, stealing money, moving funds offshore, creating fake invoices, signing Jordan's name on documents. Lucas let out a low whistle. I knew she had her hands in places they didn't belong. I couldn't help it. I laughed, a short, stunned, disbelieving laugh. Jordan had cheated on me with a woman who was now stealing from him. The poetic justice was almost too perfect. Is he going to get arrested too? I asked. Lucas shrugged. Depends. Did he know? Was he involved? Did he sign something shady? I nodded. Jordan never read paperwork. He just trusted anyone who looked good in business clothes. He smirked. Then yes, he's in trouble. For the first time, I felt something I didn't expect. Relief. A shift between us. Later that night, as we walked out of the startup center, I lingered by the door. Lucas brushed past me, then stopped and turned back. You okay? He asked. I nodded. But something was different. Not pain, not fear, but a feeling I hadn't allowed myself to feel in a long time. Safety. Lucas, thank you. For everything. He was surprised. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I said, stepping closer. I do. We stood there under the streetlight, close enough that I could see the reflection of the city lights in his glasses, close enough that my heart didn't hurt for once. But before anything could happen, before I could figure out what this feeling meant, Lucas looked at his phone and stiffened. Maya, we have a problem. My stomach dropped. What happened? He turned the screen toward me and my heart stopped. Because the headline Lucas showed me wasn't about Jordan. It was about me, and it threatened everything I had just rebuilt.
Lucas held out his phone like it was a bomb ticking between us. When I saw the headline, my stomach turned to ice. Anonymous insider claims Jordan's ex sabotaged company, calls her unstable and vengeful. No. It felt like my lungs collapsed, like someone had reached into my chest and squeezed. I clicked the article with shaking fingers, my heart pounding louder with every word. There it was, paragraphs repeating the same ugly accusations. A jealous former partner, emotionally volatile, may have stolen intellectual property, a woman scorned. My name wasn't written, but it didn't need to be.
Everyone knew who Jordan's ex was. Everyone knew the story. Lucas cursed under his breath. This is a smear campaign. Classic. He's doing exactly what his document planned. My vision blurred with rage and disbelief. He's blaming me for what she did? I snapped. He's letting the world think I'm the one who destroyed his company when I built it. Lucas rested a hand on my arm. Hey, look at me. I didn't want to. I didn't want anyone to see how broken I felt. But he waited, gently, until I met his eyes. You knew he might do this, he said quietly. People like Jordan don't go down alone. They drag everyone with them. I don't deserve this, I whispered. It sounded small, helpless, and I hated that. Lucas's jaw tightened. You're right, and you're not going to take it. I shook my head, panic rising fast. What am I supposed to do? If this goes viral, my brand launch, my company, it'll all be tainted. He opened his bag, pulled out a folder, and placed it on my lap. Inside were printed legal protections, timestamps, digital evidence, and a formal draft statement we had prepared just in case. Maya, he said softly, you have proof, and I'm going to help you use it. But proof didn't stop the pain. Proof didn't erase the betrayal. Jordan was trying to destroy me all over again, publicly this time, and he didn't even have the decency to say my name. A new kind of fire. I went home that night feeling hollow. Every word in that article echoed inside my skull. Unstable, jealous, vengeful, sabotage, words designed to silence women, to dismiss them, to make them look irrational instead of intelligent. I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I didn't look unstable. I looked tired, exhausted, but also fiercer than I ever been. For the first time, anger didn't scare me. It focused me. I opened my laptop and called Lucas on video. He answered immediately. Maya, what's wrong? I'm not hiding anymore, I said. They want to paint me as the villain? Fine, I'll respond. Lucas nodded slowly. Let's do it smart. We drafted a public statement together. Calm, factual, firm. No attacks, no insults, just truth. That I was the original creator. That I had proof. That I had been removed from the company without compensation. That I had chosen to rebuild with integrity. Lucas helped me attach the metadata files, timestamps, and original drafts that proved my authorship. He read the final statement out loud, then looked up at me. You ready? I nodded. He hit post. And just like that, the world knew. The internet reacts. Within an hour, my notifications exploded. Thousands of comments, hundreds of shares, people tagging me in videos saying things like, "This is what women go through every day. She built the brand and he stole the credit. Typical. Man fails and blames the woman. Maya, we believe you." Some people still sided with Jordan, called me a liar, called me dramatic. But most were on my side. Something inside me unclenched for the first time. Lucas texted me, "They see you now." But as the wave of support grew, so did something else. Attention, media interest, interviews, requests for appearances, opportunities. My story wasn't killing my brand. It was fueling it. Women everywhere saw their own experiences in mine, being used, discarded, erased, and they wanted to support someone who had survived it. Business surged, orders skyrocketed, investors reached out. Part of me was overwhelmed, part of me felt unbelievably grateful, but another part was waiting for Jordan's next move. Because men like him didn't stay quiet long. The return. 3 days after my statement went viral, Lucas and I were preparing materials for a potential investor call. He was sitting beside me flipping through analytics when I organized product samples, when my phone buzzed. I didn't pay attention at first. Then I saw the caller ID. My breath froze. Jordan. Calling me. The man who threw me out. The man who stole my work. The man who smeared my name. Lucas saw my face drain of color. "Do you want to answer?" he asked carefully. I stared at my vibrating phone, that familiar number flashing again and again. Part of me wanted to throw it across the room. Part of me wanted answers. Part of me wanted nothing to do with him ever again. But something in me, maybe curiosity, maybe closure, whispered, "Pick up." So, with a shaking hand, I slid my thumb across the screen. I didn't say his name. I didn't breathe a greeting. I just waited. There was a long, heavy silence on the other end. Then finally, "Maya," Jordan's voice cracked. "Please, I need your help." My blood ran cold. Help? After everything he did? I opened my mouth to say no, to tell him I never wanted to hear his voice again. But Jordan whispered something that stopped my heart completely. Something I never, ever expected to hear. Because Jordan didn't call to apologize. He called because he was in danger. And what he confessed next changed everything. I didn't expect the article to go viral. I didn't expect hundreds of people to send messages saying, "We knew the truth. We were waiting for you to rise again." And I definitely didn't expect Jordan to panic so fast. Because the morning after my rebranding story hit the local business page, I woke up to 32 missed calls from him. 32! I stared at the screen, groggy, confused. Then the wave of annoyance hit me like cold water. Jordan, the man who kicked me out with nothing, the man who said I was holding him back, the man who replaced me with his assistant. I let the phone ring the 33rd time and declined it again. Lucas looked up from across the cafe table, sipping his morning coffee. "He's persistent today," he said calmly. I shrugged, pretending it didn't bother me. Persistent is cute when someone's offering you flowers, not when someone's offering you trauma. He chuckled softly, but his tone carried caution. "Be ready, he's not calling to apologize. He's calling because he's damaged." I knew he was right. Jordan never wanted me unless he needed something. But what could he possibly need now? The collapse begins. Later that afternoon, the answer arrived in the form of a message from a mutual friend. "Maya, have you seen the news about Jordan's company?" My heart thudded. I opened the article. There it was. Titan Rise Marketing under federal investigation for financial mismanagement. My jaw dropped. No way! Lucas looked over my shoulder, eyebrows raised. Wow, that's fast. I scanned the article. Unpaid suppliers, missing invoices, funding inconsistencies, employee complaints, fraudulent campaign reporting. Fraud? Jordan? The guy who didn't even know how to open Excel 4 years ago? Then it clicked. It wasn't him. It was her. His assistant. The woman he threw everything away for. The woman he swore was just trying to help the company grow. I felt a strange mixture of anger and pity churn inside me. Pain, betrayal, karma, swirling comfortably together. The message from a stranger. Around 7 p.m., as Lucas and I sat reviewing logo drafts for my new brand, an email notification popped up. But it wasn't from a designer, or a journalist, or a friend. It was from someone named Alina, Jordan's assistant. Subject line, "We need to talk, urgent." My eyebrows shot up. "Are you serious?" Lucas leaned forward. "Open it." I clicked, and I swear my heart stopped. Maya, please. He's in danger. I messed up. I need help. I don't know what to do. Please call me. I made a mistake. I need to explain before it's too late. Lucas exhaled slowly. Wow, she actually admitted it. I stared at the screen, stunned. 4 years ago, I would have called immediately. 3 years ago, I would have cried. 2 years ago, I would have begged for the truth. 1 year ago, I would have tried to fix everything. But now I felt nothing but a cold clarity. She wants me to save her from the mess she created, I whispered. Lucas nodded. Exactly, you owe her nothing. But still, something in the message bothered me. Her tone wasn't manipulative. It was terrified. The mansion incident. The next morning, cafe customers watched as I froze in the doorway staring at a news video playing on someone's phone. It was Jordan's mansion, the same mansion I designed room by room with hope in every detail. Only now, police cars surrounded it, lights flashed red and blue, reporters crowded the driveway. The headline read, "Break-in at business mogul Jordan Hale's mansion. Employee missing." Missing? Employee? Oh no! The video zoomed in on a broken glass door, furniture overturned, papers scattered everywhere, and in the background, Jordan stood outside, hair messy, barefoot, yelling at the officers. He looked nothing like the polished man I once loved. He looked desperate. My stomach twisted. This doesn't make sense. Lucas stepped behind me, watching over my shoulder. This is more than a collapse. This is chaos. But the worst part came next. The reporter's voice said, "Authorities are searching for Alina M., Jordan Hale's personal assistant, after reports indicate over $200,000 and multiple confidential files are missing." My breath hitched. She stole from him. Not just money, not just documents, everything. Lucas sighed slowly. She ran. I felt lightheaded. But that email, she said she needed help. Maybe she wrote it before she disappeared. Or maybe, my thoughts spiraled. The call that shook me. That afternoon, my phone vibrated again. Jordan, calling. I hesitated. Lucas watched quietly, respectfully waiting for my choice. I'll answer. Not for him, for closure. I picked up. At first, he didn't speak. All I heard was muffled breathing, shaky and uneven. Then, Maya, she's gone. His voice cracked. She took everything, money, contracts, passwords, and now the police think I did it. They think I forged signatures. They think I ran the scheme. Please, please help me. You're the only one who knows the system. You're the only one who understands how it works. Maya, I'm begging you. The irony nearly knocked the air out of me. The man who once said he didn't need me, now begging for my help to save his empire. Maya, please, he whispered again. You built everything once. You can fix this. Just tell them it wasn't me. Tears burned behind my eyes, not for him, but for the woman I used to be. The woman who would have rushed to him without question. But that woman? She died the night he threw me out. My voice trembled, not with fear, but strength. Jordan, I'm not your lifeline anymore. He inhaled sharply. Please don't hang up. Please. Goodbye. I ended the call. My hands shook, not from guilt, from freedom. Lucas placed a steady hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing. I nodded, wiping tears. For the first time, I know. But deep inside, a strange unease crept in. Because the article, the break-in, the missing assistant, none of it felt random. Something bigger was happening. Something dangerous. And I had a terrible feeling it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. But the very next morning, something arrived at my door that changed everything. Something that made me realize Jordan wasn't the only one in danger. I didn't expect anything unusual that morning. I thought the chaos of the previous day would finally settle, and I could focus on building what truly mattered, my own empire. But life has a strange way of knocking the door exactly when you've locked it. Literally, because at 7:12 a.m., someone knocked. Not a gentle knock, not a friendly knock. 3 loud, urgent, bone-deep thuds. Bam, bam, bam. I froze mid-step. Lucas, who'd arrived early to help finalize my brand pitch deck, looked up from the kitchen table. His eyes narrowed, instantly alert. "That's not a delivery knock." "It's not," I whispered. I opened the door just a crack, and my breath left my body. On my doorstep was a sealed brown envelope with my name written in shaky handwriting. No delivery label, no return address, no person in sight. Just that envelope. Lucas stepped beside me. "Don't touch it yet." His voice was careful, protective. But something inside me, something instinctual, recognized the handwriting. Elena. Jordan's missing assistant. The woman who stole from him. The woman who emailed me for help. The woman who vanished. My heartbeat hammered. "Lucas, I think this is from her." He exhaled, jaw tight. "Okay, let's open it inside. Slowly." We went to the table. I slid a finger under the flap, opened it, and 2 things fell out. A small USB drive and a handwritten letter, wrinkled, smudged, shaking. My fingers trembled as I unfolded it, and the first sentence nearly made me drop the page. "Maya, if you're reading this, I'm probably already gone." My chest tightened painfully. I kept reading. "It's not what you think. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to betray you. I never meant to betray him either." Lucas leaned closer, silent but focused. Jordan trusted the wrong people. People who wanted him out of the picture. People who wanted the company for themselves. I thought I was helping him until I realized they were using me as a pawn. My hands shook harder. The money I took wasn't for me. It wasn't for him. It was evidence, proof, files that show everything: the fraud, the laundering, the shell clients, the campaign schemes. Campaign schemes? Fraud? Laundering? What on earth had Jordan gotten himself into? I swallowed hard and kept reading. I don't know who to trust. I can't go to the police. They're compromised. I can't go to Jordan. He won't believe me. You're the only person who ever cared about him without wanting something. A lump formed in my throat. I left the proof with you. If something happens to me, show this to someone safe, someone who understands the legal system, someone who won't be bought. My eyes darted to Lucas. He was already reading my expression. "She means someone like me," he said quietly. But the final line of the letter made my stomach plunge. "They're watching you too." My breath turned to ice. I reread that line again and again. "They're watching me too?" Lucas took the letter, scanning it fast. "We need to be smart. Whoever they are, they're not amateurs." I whispered, "Why would they watch me? I left the company years ago." "Because you built the system," he said. "You know the architecture, the processes, the vulnerabilities. If someone wants to destroy or hijack a company, they'd worry about the person who designed it." A cold shiver crawled up my spine. I looked at the USB. "Should we open it?" Lucas shook his head firmly. "Not on your laptop, not on mine, not anywhere connected to Wi-Fi. If this contains evidence, it could also contain spyware. We need a safe device offline." I nodded, trying to steady my breathing. "Okay, then what do we do now?" He looked at me with a seriousness I'd never seen him before. "Maya, I think this is bigger than a cheating scandal. Bigger than karma. Bigger than Jordan's downfall." I swallowed. "How big?" "Organized big." The room fell silent. My heart felt too loud. The breaking news. By noon, the world had shifted again. Lucas and I sat side by side at the cafe, trying to pretend everything was normal, while my mind replayed the letter over and over. Then a customer gasped, pointing at her phone. "Oh my God, that's Jordan." I spun around, and there he was, plastered on every news channel. Former CEO Jordan Hale detained for questioning in fraud case. My jaw dropped. Detained? Already? Lucas muttered, "They're moving fast." Reporters swarmed him outside a courthouse entrance. Jordan looked exhausted, unshaven, eyes swollen, hands shaking. He wasn't handcuffed, but his desperation hung off him like a wet blanket. He kept saying the same thing. "It wasn't me. I didn't do this. Please, someone listen." The sight should have given me satisfaction, should have felt like justice, but instead, it filled me with a deep, heavy unease. Because if Elena was right, he wasn't the villain. He was the next pawn. Maybe the next target. And maybe, so was I. The night visitor. That evening, Lucas insisted on staying. "Just until we figure out how serious this is," he said. I didn't argue. We were reviewing the letter again when a sudden clack echoed from the front of my apartment. Like metal. Like someone touching the door handle. I froze. Lucas looked up sharply. "Did you invite someone?" "No," I whispered. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. Right outside my door. I grabbed Lucas's arm, heart slamming against my ribs. He held a finger to his lips, moving silently toward the pier hole. He looked, his entire body tensed. Maya, step back. My pulse roared in my ears. "Who is it?" He didn't answer. I asked again, voice cracking. "Lucas, who is it?" He turned toward me, voice low and urgent. "It's someone I hoped we wouldn't see this soon." And when I finally looked through that pier hole myself, I realized the danger wasn't coming. It was already here.
I pressed my eye to the peephole, my heart hammering so loudly I was sure anyone outside could hear it. And then I saw him. Not a masked intruder, not a burglar. It was Lucas, standing there in the dim light holding a small device in his hand. My first thought, what is he doing outside? Before I could ask, the door creaked. A shadow slipped inside behind him. My breath caught. It was Elena. The assistant, the woman who disappeared, the one who stole from Jordan. She looked terrified, but resolute. "Maya, thank God you're here," she whispered. Lucas closed the door behind her. "You're safe now." I didn't know if I was relieved or furious. Safe? After everything you've done, after hiding, disappearing, sending me that letter? She flinched. I had no choice. They were watching me. Jordan wasn't safe, and if I came to you sooner, they'd have found you first. I sank into the nearest chair, gripping the edge so tightly my knuckles whitened. Explain, right now. I want every detail. She took a deep breath, trembling. There's a group inside his company, people who wanted to take everything, money, contracts, reputation. They manipulated him, forced me to help, and framed him with the embezzlement. They're dangerous. I felt ice crawl down my spine. And you sent me the USB because... She said more quickly, to protect myself, to protect you. You're the only one who can untangle this mess legally. You built the system, Maya. You know the flaws. You know how to expose them without destroying innocent people. Lucas leaned over. She's right. That USB is a key to fixing this, and it's your weapon now. My chest tightened. After everything, after Jordan stole, cheated, and threw me out, I finally had the chance to take control. And I would. The plan. For the next 48 hours, Lucas and I worked non-stop. We uploaded Elena's evidence to secure servers, we prepared press statements, we informed investigators with undeniable proof, we traced the fraud, we documented every detail Jordan never knew. I watched as my company grew during the process. Orders doubled. Investors called. Messages flooded in. You're amazing.
Keep going. We believe you." Meanwhile, Jordan was in chaos. The media reported, "Former CEO under scrutiny. Insider evidence reveals fraud ring." And then, the final blow. Vanessa, his assistant, was caught trying to flee the country with embezzled funds. Jordan had nothing left. No money, no mansion, no empire. The final confrontation. 2 days later, Jordan appeared at my office looking broken and desperate. "Please, Maya, you can fix this. You're the only one who can." I looked at him coldly. The man who had laughed at my ideas, cheated on me, and kicked me out. "I'm not fixing anything for you, Jordan," I said calmly. "You built your house on lies and manipulation. Now, you'll live with the consequences." He lowered his head, silent. I felt a surge of satisfaction, but more than that, I felt peace. The empire rises again. Weeks passed. With Lucas by my side, my company became bigger than Jordan's ever was. We launched campaigns, expanded product lines, and my story spread worldwide. People were inspired by the woman who had been erased, betrayed, and thrown out, and yet came back stronger than ever. Lucas stayed close, helping with everything: strategy, legal matters, and even personal support. One evening, after a long day of planning, I said quietly, "Lucas, I don't want to rent this apartment forever." He raised an eyebrow. "I want the mansion, the one Jordan kicked me out of. I want to go home, and I want to go home with you." Lucas smiled, soft and reassuring. "Then let's make it happen." The victory. Within a week, the mansion was mine. Every room, every wall, every detail. I had designed it once, and now I owned it outright. The woman who was once powerless now had her empire, her home, her dignity, and the man she trusted most beside her. Jordan? Homeless, broken, forgotten. Vanessa? Arrested. Elena? Safe, grateful, and disappeared quietly, leaving me to rise fully. And me? I finally allowed myself to breathe, to smile, to live. That night, as Lucas and I walked through the mansion, I paused in the main hall. "Trust me," I said softly, "because everything I lost, I built again. And better." Lucas squeezed my hand. I looked around, a wave of triumph and peace washing over me. "This isn't just a house," I whispered. "It's proof. Proof that no one can erase your power, Maya. Not men, not betrayal, not fear, and certainly not the world." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from and what inspired you most about Maya's journey. Because if there's one thing this story proves, it's that even when someone takes everything from you, you can rise again, stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. Trust me, you'll want to build your own empire too.